we were very aware of another personal tragedy in our family, which was the death of my father in a car accident when we were very young. So that was the overriding catastrophe in our family. And my grandmother, who played such a huge role in bringing us up, and my aunt, so my mother's sister, they sort of told us to be very considerate of my mother for what she had gone through in that regard. And then only later did we pick up a little bit about the Holocaust. They were not the type. There are some survivors, apparently, you've read of some of who dwell on it a lot and maybe traumatize their children. And others go to the opposite extreme and try to totally deny it, or even not tell their children that they're Jews. But our family was in the middle. They wanted to give us a happy childhood, which they did. And so we only picked up bits and pieces later. And it's certainly a regret of mine that I did not have the opportunity, or wasn't aware enough, to actually learn some of it from my grandmother and also my aunt. Although I do have a recording, an interview done with the sisters, my mother and my aunt, in 1978. So that's the only recording I have recorded impressions of their Holocaust experiences from my aunt. And I have lots more from my mother. No, they were done by a man representing the Canadian Jewish Congress, which was organizing Holocaust education in BC at the time. And then it was only turned over to the Holocaust Center later when that became established. And my mother's early talks were sponsored by the Canadian Jewish Congress. The Holocaust Center had not been set up at that time, or was just in the early stages. Yeah. Well, this talk was, I guess, in the late, I think I had it somewhere.
Yeah.
In the mid-90s, I guess.
Mid-90s.
His talk for the Crystal Knife commemoration evening. So that was maybe the earliest I became aware of him. It could be. Maybe I had heard of him before. I'm not sure.